Welcome back to Easy GURPS. Today we're going to roll through some more SpaceRandos simplified combat house rules that I've made up. I'm just doing a little demonstration for sharing purposes, but also I'm hoping to run some scenarios and perhaps a one-shot with a friend coming up soon. So I'm going to brush up on my own rules here and bring you guys along for the ride. Please excuse any fumblings of the rules that I make up along the way. I haven't actually run this kind of stuff for about a year, so I'm trying to get back into my house rules. So just a quick recap of the previous video on the combat, just kind of an after action report. That was pretty long, so that was an hour worth of combat, and the ships still weren't really obliterated or anything. But that is the nature of the spaceship systems, being disparate systems, kind of all scattered throughout the hull of each ship. Things tend to get disabled, and then the rest of the shipboard systems remain. So that makes for great role play, especially for free trader type stuff where you can go salvage. You know, if you've got the ability to strip the ship of entire systems and take them and sell them. That's kind of what the point of SpaceRandos is. Just kind of salvaging ships, attacking ships, maybe pirating, that kind of stuff. But that combat did go on a bit longer because we were maneuvering and flying around through that asteroid field. That slows things down a bit if you're in open space or just in orbit or whatever. People tend to get shot up quicker. Anyways, today I want to roll through some forced boarding. That's what's on the menu today. I wanted this to be a big part of the SpaceRandos setting. The idea that it is fairly common and fairly easy to force board another ship. I wanted to have an aspect of the game, give you that feel of the old pirate days. And I thought it'd be fun to build into my setting. So I've just kind of, house ruled around it to make it possible, explain it away, how it works in the physics of the world. So to briefly get into that, the idea here is that if you have a piloting skill good enough that you can, first of all, your ship has to be fast enough to catch the other ship. So we'll have these two ships here. I believe the Saturn's Escape will be the aggressor. Here is the Pirates. He's faster as well. And this is the bigger ship. This is the Blue Fusion. If the red guy has enough thrust to catch up and then decelerate and match the speed of this guy, it then comes down to contested piloting checks to see if this guy can shake this guy, if this guy can hold the piloting check contest long enough for somebody on board to use their spacer skill and engage the external clamps or a robotic arm, which this guy actually has. He has external clamping system. That means that this pilot is out-piloting. He's out-flying his target, and he's able to just kind of bring it down on top or sideways or whatever you think, wherever the clamps are located, and somebody else engages the clamps, and you're effectively going to clamp on. And at that point, the rest of your crew can make spacer rolls or forced entry rolls. In my strange little world, every ship has, from every airlock, extendable, like flexible tubes meant for this kind of thing, for mostly built into every ship. An airlock meant for emergency evacuations and stuff. But of course, we can use that for forced boarding as well. So we can extend off the airlock towards the other ship, right up against it. It can make a seal. We can then pressurize that flexible tube and then do some forced entry rolls, which in the setting world would be some laser welding or laser cutting torch type stuff, where they will physically take some time and cut through the hull. At that point, once they cut through the hull, this is where things get a little bit wonky. I wanted to have something to do with the artificial gravity systems on board each ship at that point will collide and get confused. So at that point we roll a random die to see which way the gravity changes to as the two gravity systems collide and kind of fight for control. We end up with a random gravitational pull in a random direction, so people might find themselves suddenly thrown to the ceiling and stuck there for, 3d6 rounds. Probably the rest of the combat will take place people walking on the ceilings, fighting that way. So just a fun little twist, makes it a little more less risky perhaps to jump through a hole that you've cut into the side of somebody's ship, because you know they're going to be waiting for you under cover and all that. Well, this throws an additional wrinkle into that for the defenders. They may be thrown against the wall or to the ceiling, and it'll be more of an even fight as everybody is tossed around. Then they have to regain their bearings and then start the combat. So that's a little overview. Let's just play it out and see what it looks like. So we've got the Saturn's Escape, a size modifier +6 ship. He's got 2G of thrust total, capable in his engine thrusters there. This is the Blue Fusion. It is a size modifier +7, so a good bit bigger, and he is a sluggish ship. Can only accelerate at 0.5 Gs. So he's bombing along at 1G. This guy can easily catch up. We'll say he's at 1, he's matched him. This turn he'll bump it up to 3. Actually only needs to bump it up to 2, and then he can be right in the hex. He'll do that. Gee, I can't find the 2. So this turn he'll come into the hex, and at this point he's attempting to close. So we will make contested piloting checks. Now for this to work, you've definitely got to be a better pilot than the other guy. So we'll say this guy's got a 15 piloting, and underneath this guy's got a 12. Okay, let's see. 15. Yeah, we've got a critical failure on the Blue Fusion. So his ship, he kind of just loses control out of it a bit, and it just kind of drifts, and he fails to maneuver at all. This guy immediately comes up and basically touches down onto the top of the Blue Fusion, winning that contest by he gets under by 1. Okay, at this point he will have to drop thrust to match, which he can do, and somebody else on board the Saturn's Escape will roll a spacer skill to try and engage the clamps and get a solid, we'll say he's got a skill of 12. So he does that. So in one turn, with that kind of skill discrepancy between the two, we're able to just clamp on, basically. Now we're in position. Now this would play out much differently if we didn't have an external clamp. In that case, the entire situation of trying to do the spacer rolls for the next part here, which is extend the flexible tube, the entire boarding situation, forced entry, would have to, the aggressor, the boarding ship, would have to keep making contested piloting checks, and if he fails, they lose contact and they would drift apart, stranding or losing anybody in that flexible tube who's still not in one of the ships. So that's where things can get real dicey. It's possible to obviously pull off if you've got a hotshot pilot, but if you don't have an external clamp, it's going to be real hard and real risky. Let's continue with the external clamp. We're clamped on. We make a spacer check. Let's see if we can get under 12. We fail, so that turn we've failed to extend the flexible tube. Turn is wasted. These guys underneath the blue fusion there, can they get a shot off? They could possibly, at this point, they've got some weaponry, and this would be point blank. They can start exchanging fire underneath. Yeah, we'll say that the turret can kind of get a shot off at the aft of that. That's not going to do it. He fails to hit. It's just too close, perhaps. And then the spacer roll to extend the. Okay, we've got a good seal. That's a critical success there, pretty well. We've got a good seal on the flexible tube between from the Saturn's escape, and now the crew can rush down the tube and attempt forced entry rolls. Okay, next round, well, we go to, well, yeah, underneath there, the blue fusion will attempt. His gunner skill of 12 is just not going to cut it. He's just shooting lasers and just missing his target. Does he only have the one weapon? He's got, yeah, he's only got the one weapon in the rear. On the top, on a turret. All right, here comes a forced entry attempt into the next turn. We need a, what was it, 12, I guess? Or, anyways, we make it. So we've now started cutting through. We're working in spaceship turns here, which are typically, I always just go with the 20 seconds, 20-second scale for SpaceRandos. So it takes 20 seconds or more, and they've cut a small hole that they can squeeze through. Maybe they'd want to make a bigger one, whatever. Let's continue for purposes of demonstration. So they've cut through the hull of the blue fusion, and this is where the artificial gravity compensators just go wonky. So we roll the 1d6 to see which direction. So we've got the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. And then 5 and 6 are up and down. It looks like we've got a west, as everybody's thrown to the west. Let's just grab a different map now, since we're going on to shipboard combat. Make things interesting here. Here's the spaceship. Here's the back here. You can see the boosters. Let me bring this into focus here. Here's yeah, here's a space, an airlock. Actually, these guys are just probably coming right down in through the top, somewhere in the middle. So I guess it's the cargo bay. Sounds right. So north, east, south, west. The gravity is now throwing everybody this way. We might say that we had some defenders rush down the stairs to get ready to fend off this boarding party. Maybe they would, maybe one would run over here, just get in around the corner. You know, he's getting ready to shoot. The breach comes in here, and everybody's thrown this way and this way. Clunk, clunk. These guys step in, and then they're suddenly thrown. You know, what is this? Two hexes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for this guy. That's where we start rolling a little bit of fall damage for everybody, and then we pick up the pieces from there and continue combat. This damage from small fire will be applied directly to the hit points, the deca hit points of the ship internally. So with the fight goes on in the cargo hold, and we do, I think it's, 10% damage, 10% of the ship's hit point or more, that will disable the cargo hold, so it will be non-functional. As much as you can disable a cargo hold, there's not too many functioning systems there other than maybe the airlocks. But you get the idea. You don't want to be shooting up the interior of your ship that you're trying to capture too much. So this is another fun trope that I wanted built into the SpaceRandos rules. Kind of supporting the need for hand-to-hand combat. So people, it would be common for pirates to actually use swords, force swords and vibro swords and that kind of stuff, knives, if they want to take a ship a little less recklessly, perhaps. Anyways, that's a quick overview of how that goes down and how that plays out. It's kind of fun. I'm hoping to really play that out dramatically in the coming weeks with the game I'm going to run. Should be fun. Take a look at the rules for yourself. If interested, you can download them for free from the link in the description. As always, feel free to tweak and change as you see fit, but that's my little simpleton way of playing some space combat. Roll on.